Welcome to day 33 of my 40-day prayer condition for President Trump in America here at a fly on heaven's wall. I'd just like to make a few observations about equality. We've been sold a bill of goods by the liberal progressive mind bank that equality only flows from compulsion. That if left to themselves, human beings will always impose inequality. But I say that equality actually flows from freedom, and it flows only from freedom. And I think it's pretty demonstrable just from observation. The big problem in our society today, especially for conservatives, is political correctness. And government mandates, the use of government to strip people of their jobs and their businesses and their livelihood if they don't treat someone with the equality that some government bureaucrat declares is the standard. Christian bakeries being shut down for not wanting to bake custom wedding cakes for gay weddings comes to mind. What is the essence of the state of freedom? When you're in a state of freedom, you're free to do what you want to do so long as what you do doesn't materially harm the rights, or I guess the freedom of another person. So in a state of freedom, enforcing an inequality upon another person means to strip them of their freedom. Means to deny them their freedom to do what they want to do. So you are no longer in a state of freedom. If you imagine a government that actually defends the rights of all of its citizens equally, then you would have to conclude that it's not possible for any citizen or the government to deprive any other citizen of their right to do what they want to do, whether it's a job, it's a calling, it's a service, it's clothing, various social mores, say the dating system, who asks who out on a date, who pays for whom. So in a state of freedom, equality can grow. In a state of unfreedom, that is, a state of compulsion, equality can never grow. That's only when equality is considered to be equality in a very tiny, narrow sense. We look at American society today, and we see these efforts by liberal progressives to enforce their version of equality. And in enforcing their version of equality, they're actually imposing inequality on another group of people. Just take the Christian baker, for example. The Christian baker's right to bake a custom cake for whomever they choose is denied them. The freedom to do that is stripped away from them. Their freedom to base their actions on their conscience that stems from their religious understandings is also stripped away from them by the violent force of government that is employed to this purpose. So in order to produce a supposed equality for one person, this liberal progressive ideology actually has to oppress and tyrannize another person. That's not a state of equality. That is the same old kind of social oppression that they complain about. Went on with, say, white segregation of blacks, the days of slavery, the days when women couldn't vote or work, the idea that women are paid less than men for the exact same job. So it's not possible to create equality from compulsion. It is only possible to create equality from freedom. So our founding fathers created America with a constitution that guaranteed equality under the law for all citizens. They didn't follow it from the get-go when it came to blacks, or when it came to women, or when it came to people who didn't own land. But at least it was written on paper. And that gave people something to fight for. Just as the very beneficial or beneficent teachings of Jesus were written on paper in the Bible. And that gave Christians something to fight for against the corruption of the Catholic Church, which caused the Reformation. Imagine if those things hadn't been written in the Bible. Imagine if Jesus had not been recorded preaching love and service to others and not harming your fellow man. Then Christians would have been unable to spark a reformation of Catholicism. So our Constitution gives us the ability to spark a political reformation. And the reformation that we need in America is a reformation of freedom. Only under freedom are people free to be free. That seems pretty self-evident, but more than 50% of the American population does not understand that. They have come to believe this lie from the left, that only government can change society. Only government can make people respect other people's freedom. Only government can create equality. And that's false. Government's one job is to uphold the rights of all citizens equally and to not play favorites. And that's what the government did during the days of slavery, segregation, women not working, all these things. These were things that government enforced for the benefit of private citizens that they supported. Because of that, liberals have told a lie that it's not possible to create equality without overthrowing that government. And that's what they've been trying to do, is overthrow our constitutional government for a kind of European socialist government. Now the irony is that Europe actually has no rights and no equality. Everything in the European constitutions are privileges. They don't actually grant absolute natural rights like America does. Americans have natural rights from God, and our constitutional protections enjoin government from ever infringing upon them. Rights in the European political system don't come from God. They're not natural rights. They're rights conveyed by government. And the language of those rights always insists that for the sake of social order and the needs of the government, these rights can be circumscribed or even suspended entirely. Equality will never be found in those systems. Donald Trump is a man who believes in the equality I'm talking about, which is the equality rooted in freedom. And this is another reason why liberals are so hysterically opposed to him. Because his idea of equality rooted in freedom is anathema to them. Because it means they can't have the power in government that they want. They can't become the new priests of a new society that defines its standards and calls the shots. That's just another reason why Donald Trump needs protection by believers through prayer, positive thinking, mobilizing the will and intent of God behind him. Please pray with me. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings that we have as Americans. The idea that we have natural rights was the first of its kind in the history of the world. Not even the Greeks or the Romans came up with the concept. Father, the world is struggling under the burden of lies and deceptions promulgated across the globe by progressive ideology. It is the ideology of the priesthood, of the high priest, the ideology of the self-righteous. And it's the ideology of the tyrant, who wants absolute and total control over all others, granting himself the freedoms, granting his priesthood certain freedoms, and denying them to everyone else on pain of violence. Please be with Donald Trump, Father, every day and night as he struggles against this kind of thinking. Because our government, which is dedicated to upholding the natural rights given us by nature of your creation, has turned from that path, Father, like the Hebrews of the Old Testament. It's taken up a false god, a golden calf, if you will, and it worships it and ignores you, and especially it ignores the truth that you brought to us through Jesus, through Reverend Moon, through Buddha, through the prophets of old, and through those even today through whom you're speaking. All of these truths point to one simple core truth. Unconditional love is your core essence. And the soil of unconditional love is freedom. Absolute unconditional freedom. Pray that America can re-embrace these ideals, Father. That Donald Trump can be a champion and a leader, showing us those ideals again, getting us to think about them and talk about them in the right way. I pray that we can salvage the blessings you gave us, Father, and make America great again for 1,000 years more, spreading freedom and absolute rights, prosperity and equality to all human beings around the world. It starts here, Father. It started here 200 years ago. And this is still its garden where freedom is growing and spreading, but it is in grave danger now. And those who understand the concept of freedom, Father, need to stand up and save it. I ask you to be with all those people who are doing that tonight. All those people praying with me now, those who pray on their own, those who speak to others in this vein. I know you have their back, Father, because you are always calling us day and night to live for the sake of others, to realize your original ideal. I pray in true love. Amen. Thank you once again. Please subscribe to my videos or to my channel, like the videos, and please share them as widely as you can. The more you share them around, the more people can start to talk about these ideas. So I'll see you next time. Until then, God bless.